Hello and welcome, everybody, to the Twins Off Daily podcast brought to you by twinsdaily.com, your finest source for independent Twins coverage on the entire interwebs. How the heck are you, Twins territory? We are back at it again, the original three of the Twins Off Daily podcast. I'm your host master general for today's episode, Sweet Lou Hennessy, and I'm gathered with my two dear friends, Gregory Masterson and Cody Schoenman. How's it going, fellas? Greg, let's start with you. How are you, my friend?
Let me be the first to wish a happy return to legendary Gold Glove center fielder Manuel Margot. Welcome back, Manny Magoo. I've missed you so much. You've got 15 games left to work your magic. How are we doing, Twins territory? I just wanted to do a quick shameless self-plug. That a joint effort between myself and Andrew Ludke, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, we have decided to do a Twins Twitter running club to propel the Twins to wins. We are running 3 miles each, not combined, 3 miles each the day after every Twins win. We decided to start this, Tuesday, and in the Twins Run Club era, the Twins are 2-0, so it must be working.
Oh my goodness. Gregg is going to come out of this with a 2-foot long gray beard and just washboard abs, baby. He's going to be cut at the end of this season. But hey, that's good to know. Cody, how about you, my friend? What's going on?
So since we last met, Twitter was banned in Brazil. So I want to say I'm sorry to the fine folks over at Twins Brazil. I know that's a Twitter account's pretty active with Twins Daily and everybody. So I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you can keep getting good Twins coverage. But yeah, unfortunate circumstances for Twins Brazil down in South America.
Yeah, you know what? I think Twitter's pretty much been dead down there since T-Wolves Brazil, Brazil, since they went under. Just an absolute tragedy.
At all.
No? Not at all?
No, I had no patience for Timberwolves Brazil.
Oh my goodness! How can you say that? They were magic. They
made me
propelled the season.
Yeah, I had a pretty short fuse too. It gave me the ick in 2 days. And I was like, ugh.
Un-American. You guys are un-American.
Un-American because we don't get down with Timberwolves Brazil.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yep. Your dad did.
Actually, you're right. You're right. South America is America. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
Wolves country knows no borders. But let's keep moving on here. Like we said, we are here on an off day on Thursday here. We are actually recording this on Wednesday night, right after the Twins took home a nice victory and a nice series victory from the Los Angeles Angels. But we will get to more of that in a little bit. But right now, let's introduce our walk-off question that we are going to answer at the end of today's episode. I want to know, what current Twin would you select to get an iconic playoff moment this year? A walk-off home run, a huge, pitching performance, a go-ahead RBI double in the 9th inning, something like that. They get this iconic moment this year. But the caveat is, the Twins lose them after this year, whether that's via free agency or trade or waiver claim, whatever. They get this iconic moment, and then at the end of this season, they're gone. They are never going to be a Minnesota Twin again. Who would you select to get that iconic moment and then to be shipped away? We will try to answer that at the end of today's episode. But for right now, let's boogie on over and talk about the action that's been happening recently in our rapid recap. So it feels like there's a lot of angst in Twins territory. I mean, constantly. That's just kind of a constant. But it's pretty well deserved too, just with the performance, especially when it comes to the lineup. Some pretty terrible losses coming out of the bullpen earlier this week. But then I was looking at just because the record since our last episode, they went 6-8. Not great, admittedly. They went 2-1 versus the Toronto Blue Jays. Then they split a series against the Tampa Bay Rays. Then they got swept by the Kansas City Royals, which was a huge gut punch. And then they just finished a 2-1 series versus the Los Angeles Angels. So at the end of the day, 2 series wins, 1 split, and 1 loss. It feels like things are a lot worse than that, though. It feels like there's a ton of uncertainty around this team as they head to the home stretch of the season here. But let's talk about it. Who's not? Just our general thoughts on this squad as we're coming along to, what is it, like 18 games left of the year, something like that. It's really winding down here. That roll of toilet paper, as it goes on, it just keeps moving faster. So let's start with you, Cody. What are some of your general takeaways over the last few series the Twins have had?
Yeah, so everything with the Twins right now feels heightened. There's like a very heightened sense of anxiety and like dread when they lose, and then when they win, like, I wouldn't actually really say it's heightened when they win. It's still somber. So, like, I guess the negative emotions associated with the Twins are very heightened, and then the positive ones are like drowned out in the fact where it's like, oh, well, tomorrow's going to go bad. That's just kind of the sense that I get with, the echo chamber that I, am associated with on Twins Twitter. Sorry, my man. Freudian slip. Sorry. Okay, let me get back. So. The Twins, so they just came off a series against the Angels. Obviously, the Angels are not that good of a team. We all know that, but it's still important to take series like that. I took the series against Toronto as well. And, right now they are 10 games above 500. And if we were to say at the beginning of the season that the Twins were going to be 10 games above 500 come mid-September, I think everybody would have taken that. I mean, I think they're on pace for, is it a 86 win season right now? Do you know offhand, Lou?
Yeah, so they are almost exactly at the same record they were at this point last season, and they finished that year with 87 wins, I'm pretty sure, right? So yeah. I think we're lined up pretty much exactly how we were at this point last season. The difference is the competition. You know what I mean? At this point last year, the Twins were like 6 games above Cleveland for the division lead. Now we're 6 games back, and we're just, clinging to that third wild card spot there. But yeah, I'm sorry, I interrupted. Continue.
Oh no, So I mean, I feel like right now, it's hard because Detroit's come on really hot too, and they're like right on the Twins. And Kansas City just swept them. Cleveland is still Cleveland. There's a big series coming up, but overall, I mean, I still am a little bit optimistic with this team. I don't know if they have a playoff push in them. I'm starting to feel like any semblance of depth or like quality players keeps kind of fading away. I mean. Continually, Jose Miranda, his performance has dipped. Willie Castro kind of continues to slide. Larnach and Wallner are good, but they're kind of just like balancing out. So like how everyone performed super well during the midsummer months, they kind of have all come down. The pitching is regressing too. I mean, Zebby could get demoted to AAA, and I wouldn't bat an eye at that. David Festa is inconsistent. I mean, I do like him, but like I wouldn't trust him in a playoff game. Simeon Woods Richardson is Simeon Woods Richardson. I think we all kind of know who he is at this point. So I have a lot of concern. Like I said, I don't think this team is really built for a deep playoff push at this moment. When Correa comes back, when Buxton comes back, which is going to be pretty imminent, I think things maybe could change, vibe-wise and perception-wise. Royce Lewis needs to pick it up too. But overall, it's just a very, very weird spot. But nevertheless, like this isn't the team that's going to be in the playoffs if the Twins do make the playoffs. I mean, this iteration of the Twins is not who we are going to see in October. So it's kind of just important to survive right now with this team and make the postseason.
Yeah, you brought up some really good points. We were talking about, it felt like they were looking around for someone to fill the holes that Buxton and Correa, left behind when they went on the injured list. We're talking about guys like Royce Lewis, Jose Miranda, Willie Castro. It felt like guys were kind of looking around for, okay, who's going to step up here? And we really haven't seen too many players step up yet. Matt Wallner's having an awesome season so far, and he's been really good for the past month since Buxton and Correa have been out. But yeah, I get what you're saying about the angst of just, if they play how they've been playing the past few weeks, there's not going to be much of a playoff push. One interesting thing that you brought up about kind of the young pitchers in the rotation, Zebby, David Festa, Simeon Woods Richardson. I appreciate that they're kind of spread out between Pablo and Ober. We saw how difficult that was in 2021 when Chris Archer and Dylan Bundy
yeah.
back for the entire season, and how that just really killed the bullpen.
And often followed up by Devin Smeltzer.
Ooh, the legend himself.
Those 3 in the row. It's
like
really tough to conserve your bullpen.
Yep. But, talking about tonight's game, like I said, we recorded on Wednesday here. So the game 3 against the Angels, Zebby with a quick hook, and Rocco went straight to, he used 5 different relievers. I think we're going to see that a lot through the rest of this year, especially in the games that are not started by Pablo Lopez and Bailey Ober. Gregg, what do you think, my friend? Anything to add to this conversation?
Yeah, I mean, from like a big picture perspective, I don't know. It feels kind of weird because they just, picked up 2 games, not picked up 2 games, but won 2 games in a row against a pretty bad Angels team. And so the vibes are a little bit higher than they should be, like overall right now, if we're being honest. It kind of colors my vision of the team. But the Twins have been, I know that a lot of people, point at, expected stats or whatever and talk about how unlucky the Twins have been. The Twins have been ridiculously lucky over the last, 3-4 weeks. Have been just like on a free fall. What are they in their last 22? It's 7-15 or something like that. It's hard to watch, and somehow, some way, the Twins are still 3 or 4 games up on a playoff spot right now, and they would be playing the Astros in the first round. Like, it doesn't make sense that after all of this just miserable baseball that we've watched, and not just miserable baseball, but probably everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. That's also at hand, whatever. But somehow, some way, it's like, yeah, but they'll still probably make the playoffs, and they'll probably still have a decent first round matchup. I mean, we've pretty much kissed goodbye the hope that they were going to catch Cleveland and have that first round bye. But I mean, my gosh, unless something like, they'd almost have to play even worse over the next 3 weeks than they have the previous 3 weeks to lose this lead. It's unreal. The teams that are chasing them, in air quotes, other than Detroit, have been playing just as bad, if not worse. And Detroit, they might be on a similar run that they like to what they did last season towards the end. But also, it's not like we're terribly scared of Detroit catching the Twins. It's so strange from a big picture perspective. I do want to give a shout out to Kyle Farmer. Well, we were saying, oh no, who's going to replace Correa? Kyle Farmer has apparently replaced Correa since we last spoke. Kyle Farmer has an OPS over 1.3.
Is that good?
It's what is this? His WRC plus coming into tonight over the last 13 games is 286, which is 100's average. 286 is nearly 3 times that, or twice that. I don't know. I'm not good at math. But my gosh. But that kind of like puts it into perspective. The Twins have not been hitting very well. They're not scoring runs. Their top 3 bats in small samples over the last 2 weeks have been Kyle Farmer, Michael Hellman, and Austin Martin in very limited time. The only 3 other players who have been above league average in that time span are Carlos Santana, Trevor Larnach, and Matt Wallner, and not by much. It's they're consistently dropping the ball across the board with their bats. Outside of Bailey Ober and Pablo Lopez, the pitching does not look great. Jackson Duran, Jax is looking amazing. He had that one unfortunate outing. Duran is looking shaky. The trust that everybody put in Jorge Alcala has not been, rewarded in recent weeks. It's just so all over the place, man. And somehow, some way, they're still probably going to make the playoffs. We're probably still going to be able to watch them in October. It's insane.
Yeah, and really quick, Gregg, 2 of the 3 players that you name in like the small sample size are going to be in AAA come tomorrow. So
yes,
that's the crazy part. I also saw on Twitter too that Beat podcaster Declan Goff had a video of Royce Lewis saying that the Twins might have a Diamondback style run in them. And it's like, yeah, I could see that. But yet again, it's so unknown. They could also have a Blue Jays type of run where they go somewhere and lose in 2 games too. We just don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I think we'll probably hopefully be talking more about looking ahead to the playoffs at the next episode of the Twins Off Daily podcast. So maybe we won't spend too much time on that, but yeah, I think there might be something to that, we could see it breaking good, so to speak, but it's hard to really predict that over the last couple of weeks with just the quality of at bats that we've seen from so many guys in the lineup. Just as everybody's out of gas. It's clear. It's clear that pretty much everybody top to bottom, except like you said, maybe Matt Wallner, maybe Trevor Larnach. Everybody's running on fumes right now. And that's league wide too. That's not a Twins specific problem, but it just seems like everybody's hitting the slump at the same time right now. And is it going to be a slump that's, two or three guys get out of and it kind of balances itself out? Or is it just going to be a skid that ends the season? That's kind of the question where we're at right now. Do you guys think anybody on the Twins right now, especially when it comes to lineup, do you think anybody's hiding some kind of major injury? I know that Carlos Santana and Willie Castro have been under the weather with the scoots, as I like to call it, over the past, couple series here. Looks like they're kind of coming out the other end of that. No pun intended. But
stop tasting the sausage. None of this would have happened.
I'll throw one name out there who I'm just not sure is totally healthy right now, and that's Brooks Lee.
Yeah.
He could maybe he's going through some rookie growing pains. That he's allowed to have that. He's a 23-year-old rookie who's thrown into a pennant chase right in the thick of things. But his bat has just not been there. His fielding has been good. I've been very impressed with him at shortstop. He's made some really clutch plays. He's got great baseball IQ that really comes out. Or it has come out in the past couple of series, but the quality of his at bats and just the quality of the batted ball coming off of his bat has really concerned me. And I'm worried that maybe that shoulder or whatever he was on the shelf with is still bugging him. Are there any other names that you guys can think of that you're like, is this guy healthy? Is this guy hiding something right now?
Yeah. I know Nick Nelson a couple of days ago wrote a piece how Royce Lewis is out of gas. That's the way he put it in the title. And I wonder maybe if Royce isn't necessarily hurt, but if he's just kind of like worn down maybe, and he's just trying to survive the rest of the season. I've also wondered this for a while, and I don't really want to speculate, but Ryan Jeffers, I wonder if there's something with him that's maybe been nagging him for a while injury-wise. This has been going on for like a couple months now with Jeffers, but I just wonder if something is affecting him health-wise. Maybe I'm not too sure, but I could see that maybe being the case.
Something to keep an eye on. Greg, how about you? Anybody else come to mind?
I mean, I was gonna say, Royce. I don't know. I don't like to speculate on these things, but he's absolutely, like his bat speed has fallen, his sprint speed has fallen. Like he's not performing at the rate or at the level that we've come to expect, and that can be expected from somebody who's played like 180 games in the last 5 years, who's blown out both. It's like, okay, this man is just trying to make it through a season like moderately healthy, and he's missed time this year with different things, and it's just like I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if something was bugging him, nagging him, but I don't know. I don't get to see the medicals.
Sure.
If I did, I would have said no to that Chris Paddock guy.
Oh, of course. Sorry, I didn't Google Chris Paddock. No, but it should also be said, this is obviously pure speculation. These, us three guys just talking about, I'm watching TV and it doesn't look like Brooks Lee is healthy. Of course, pure speculation. Also, guys are just allowed to go through rough patches, especially young players. That happens. That's baseball, literally. That you'll ask anybody in that clubhouse and they'll say like, yeah, that's just the game. That happens. You got to find a way out of it for sure. But I think that as fans, we have this tendency that everything, every issue, every loss needs to be diagnosed. There needs to be a reason for why it happened and who's
what aren't they telling us?
Yes. So it's just something to keep in mind. But it's like I said, there's been a lot of angst over the last couple of weeks here. And that actually leads into our beginning topic, which we've already kind of started talking about. But we're talking about how the Twins can turn a corner out of the current slump, especially as it pertains to the lineup. So we've talked about who's concerned you most? Has anybody else kind of come up to you guys as like, oh, this could be an issue for the rest of the season here? I'm very concerned about Willie Castro just because of his overall trend since he played in the All-Star game. He was about 23% above league average according to WRC Plus before he made the All-Star team, and he's been about 23 to 25% below average since that point. Still plays everywhere. He's been battling a back injury. He still has his value, obviously, but if they're expecting him to be one of the premier players in the lineup, he hasn't been that in a long time. Anybody else come to mind for you as who concerns you the most?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to see a little bit of life out of Jose Miranda. I feel like, and this is me just trying to like recall anecdotally, but he feels like a type of guy who will have like once a week he'll go like 3 for 4 or 4 for 5, and that will almost like carry him through the rest of the week as he kind of struggles and flounders I mean, he's not driving the ball very well at all. I believe that I saw a statistic on how long it's been since he's hit a home run. And I believe it's been quite a while. But I don't know. I would take this and just go the other way and say, I don't really feel great about really anybody in this lineup right now.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to kind of sustain, except for Matt Wallner. And if you are counting on Matt Wallner to be like the calm ship in a storm, I'm trying to think of the right metaphor or whatever, but like we're talking about a dude who's striking out 40% of the time, and you're like, well, at least as long as he's in there, we'll have some. No, like he'll go 3 games in a row without making contact with the ball. Like if that is like your stabilizing presence in the lineup, that's like you're reliable. And Carlos Santana, I would put in the same. Actually, I rescind that. Carlos Santana, I feel fine about, but also he doesn't have much of a ceiling to carry a team either. I don't feel good about really anybody in this lineup right now.
Yeah. Times are pretty dire right now. Like I'm at the point where it's like, yeah, I think Edouard Julien should be in the lineup every day. And it's like, I don't want to be in a spot where I think Edouard Julien should be in the lineup every day. Sorry, but like, and I think you should hit like leadoff against righties every day. Like I'm like, I don't know, the catching tandem. Like I said earlier, I'm pretty low on them right now offensively, and like deservedly so. Castro, like his OPS might dip under 700, which is crazy, like to say right now. The fact that he was an all-star to begin the year, but like, yeah, I just like it's really gonna come down to how Correa and Buxton perform and how Lewis is able to rebound to see if there's any chance that they can do anything special down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, so that kind of led into my next point, which you both kind of answered, which was who gives you the most faith that they can turn it around? Not that they can be some all-star caliber player, but that they can be like, okay, respectable. This guy's got to be in the lineup. He can produce at least a little bit. Gregg, you brought up Jose Miranda, and it's hard to say that, especially after some of the at-bats that he's had recently and just his significant dip in power. He hasn't had a home run like we were talking about in a long time here. Yeah, so it's been
over 2 months.
Wow.
It's been a long time for him. It seems crazy. I still like the fact that he goes the other way. He's hitting a lot of singles. I'd rather he, hits for power, obviously, but there's so many guys in this lineup that are 0 for 4 every night, 1 for 5. We'll take any hits we can get. So if he's seeing the ball any better than some of these other guys, I have faith that he could turn it around a little bit to be at least serviceable, maybe. But even that seems like a stretch at this point. We touched on Buxton and Correa. They announced after Wednesday's game that Byron Buxton would be active for Friday's game. What are some reasonable expectations for Byron Buxton going forward? Do you think we're going to see him in center field? Do you think we're going to see a lot of DH? What do you guys think? Let's start with you, Gregg.
I mean, in terms of where we're going to see him, I think that it might be kind of telling that they decided to send down Austin Martin rather than Deshaun Kiersey Jr. Just due to Kiersey being a much better defensive center fielder than what we've seen from Austin Martin. And maybe Austin Martin eventually becomes a legitimate center fielder, but he has not been that yet.
No.
I think I don't know. I don't like to start speculating, reading through the tea leaves on that, but I feel like that probably hints that Kiersey is going to be out in center field a little bit more, even with Buxton back. I don't know. I'm sure it largely just kind of depends on how Buxton's feeling. It sounds like he's not at 100%. They delayed his rehab because of hip soreness, hip tightness, and one would assume that he's going to probably still be dealing with that and will be for the rest of the season. In terms of expectations, I mean, we've seen what a healthy Buxton can do. We've seen what a 80% Buxton can do as well. It doesn't have to be the story that we saw last season. I'm blanking on a good example, but like 2022 was not healthy for probably. Gosh, I'm not gonna pull a stretch out of my butt, but we've seen like a hobbled Buxton be successful, be good in the batter's box. It just kind of depends on how hobbled he is, and we don't know that, I guess.
Yeah. And you know what? It's a pretty low bar to clear for him to be better than what they've been seeing, at least offensively. So, this could end up being a thing where he feels hip tightness after every time he plays this year, for the rest of this year. Maybe that means one game on, one game off. Maybe that means that we see him as a designated hitter more often than not. We've seen Rocco really cycle guys through that designated hitter role for the entire year here. It seems like every, there's 5 different guys that kind of get cycled through the DH slot. Maybe that's a change of plan for the next few weeks so that they can get Byron Buxton in the lineup more, but we'll see what happens. Cody, any thoughts on Byron Buxton coming back?
Yeah, I think I generally agree with Gregg. I think the fact that they elected to keep Kiersey Jr. up over Martin is indicative of their plan that they probably are going to play him in center more than Buxton. So I think that means that Buxton's going to probably have a part-time role as DH, maybe in center field once, twice a week, as long as he can stay healthy. Maybe like a pinch hit role. I wouldn't say maybe pinch run or defensive substitution. I probably wouldn't go that far given the state of his health, but yeah, I don't know what to expect at all. I think honestly, like the only answer for this is to be like agnostic and be like, there could be something there, but we don't really know. So we'll just kind of go with it.
Well said.
I'm sure that his days off will be days off.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything that I feel confident in, is if Byron Buxton isn't in the starting lineup, he's just not playing that day.
Yeah, very well might be. Do you guys think that there are any sort of remaining break glass in case of emergency moves remaining that this team can make? Before we got this news, I would have said activating Byron Buxton, even if he's not fully healthy. I have another one in the back of my head, but I'd like to hear what you two think. Are there any more break glass in case of emergency moves that the Twins can make the rest of this year?
Zach Weiss.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to think. Diego Castillo isn't really good. The hitter, the infielder, Diego A. Castillo has been good. So I can maybe see him getting another shot, say if somebody gets hurt down the stretch. Otherwise, Junior Severino, he hasn't been used all this year. I don't expect him to really be in the plans down the stretch. So, I'll kind of defer for now for like who I think would be like the actual person. But Diego A. Castillo is probably like as far as I'm going to go for my answer.
Okay. Gregg, anything?
I mean, it after kind of how we've seen Daniel Zebulon Matthews over the last few weeks, I could see a world where Zebby gets moved to the bullpen. I believe Cody Christie wrote about that at Twins Daily. I believe that was published today. I could see Zebby going down to like a 2 or 3 pitch mix, fastball slider, fastball cutter slider, and potentially being a weapon out of the bullpen, or at least like another reliever, which would require maybe the return of Randy Dobnak. But if I could definitely see a world where the Twins look at his metrics and say, you know what, maybe we're throwing him too far into the deep end right now. Let's just let him kind of get used to MLB hitters by doing it an inning or two at a time. And then obviously everybody wants to see maybe Emmanuel Rodriguez. I don't know. Number 3 in the system, potential number or like top 10 prospect over the winter. If you need somebody to play center field, he can probably do that for a couple more years. So, give him a shot. I don't know. It's a long shot, obviously.
Yes. I think it's definitely a long shot, but I don't think it's impossible that we would see Emmanuel Rodriguez on the Twins in 2024, potentially in the playoffs too. I think something would seriously have to go wrong. Byron Buxton would have to be done for the season, or Matt Wallner or Trevor Larnach go down. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but they're one big injury away from calling Emmanuel Rodriguez up. He's already on the 40-man roster. He's super exciting. He's got a few different carrying tools that could really be useful for this club. Obviously, it'd be a huge rush. He was in high A early this year, right? Didn't he start the year at high A, or did he start at double A? Either way, he's a 21-year-old who has only played 40 games above single A. So it would be a huge rush. It would be probably a panic move, but we saw them call Alex Kirilloff up and make his debut in the postseason in 2020. Maybe there's a situation where that happens again. Probably not preferable, but that's, rarely do you have to break glass for a preferable outcome there. But it's definitely something to track. But how about this? I think we've done enough doom and gloom. Let's move on to our next segment, which is Picks to Click. Okay, so everybody knows how to play Picks to Click. We track a given category between now and our next episode. And whoever is closest to the pin gets a point and gets to move up on our all-time standings. Last week, our picks that we tried to figure out were which Twins believe.
Speaking of the mic.
I'm sorry. Last week's episode, we tried to pick which Twins reliever would give up the most earned runs between now and between episodes, between last episode and today's episode. Nick Nelson picked Jorge Alcala, who only gave up one earned run in the last, 13 games. So pretty good for Jorge Alcala. Cody, you picked Caleb Thielbar, who also only gave up one earned run. Gregg picked Ronnie Henriquez, who gave up 2 earned runs. And I picked Michael Tonkin, who gave up 3 earned runs. So I will take the win, which leads us to our all-time standings. I have 7, Gregg has 6, and the field also has 6. Unfortunately, Cody still sitting at 0, but I got faith that he's going to come up big in this next one. And our next picks that we are going to track are how many games will Byron Buxton play between now and our next episode, which is 10 games from now. I believe that is the 23rd. I got to check the date on that. Yeah, Monday. So there's 10 games between now and then. How many games will Byron Buxton play in that time? Let's start with you, Cody. What do you think? How many games are we going to see Byron Buxton in?
I'm going to go with a lucky number and say 7 because I need luck on my side at this point. So
you sure do. You sure need some luck. Gregg, how about you, my friend? Do you need any luck?
I'm going to say that we're not going to have much luck at all. I'm going to put the number at 2.
Whoa. Hello.
Not to manifest anything, but there is a world where he runs out there and he, his head hurts again.
Unbelievable, Gregg. Okay, well, that doesn't leave me with many options here if I want to be closer to the pin. I'm going to go optimistically. I'm going to say 8 games he appears in. I'm not saying he's going to start 8 games, but I think he takes at least one appearance or he makes an appearance in 8 of the next 10 games. Wow. Okay. Well, we will track that, and we will see who is closest to the pin at the next episode. But for right now, let's move on to everybody's favorite segment, which is Gregory's Gripes. Man, this ought to be a big one. Gregg's been kind of holding back. He didn't have a gripe last episode, and I think we're going on almost a month since the last time we heard Gregg gripe about something. That's unheard of. Have you turned a new leaf, Gregg?
Lou, I'm not sure about your memory, but I went into the show without a gripe, and then by the end of the show, I had 2 gripes. I sent messages to you to say, wait, we need to do a gripe.
Yes, you had the ones that you snuck in. They were so memorable. I apologize.
I remember both of them. Yeah,
I believe it was umbrellas and ponchos.
Okay, well, fake gripes anyway. So let's get a real gripe in here. You can always count on Gregg to have something grinding his gears, and this is his therapy session to get it all off his chest. Gregg, you have the floor. What are we griping about, my friend?
Okay, so I don't think that we've actually talked about it on the show. Have we even mentioned like this show or previously the whole Royce Lewis second base fiasco debacle, whatever?
No.
I don't know if we've addressed it at all. But it has been something that's just been completely blown out of the water. I don't know why we don't have enough to talk about with this miserable team that we're wasting our time caring about whether Royce Lewis is comfortable playing second base like once a week, maybe if it comes to it, whatever. It's a moot point now anyway, because Max Kepler is on the IL, so we don't have the roster crunch going on. But there's an aspect of this Royce Lewis debacle that is just sending me up a tree. And if I never hear the name Scott Boras again, it will be too soon. I am so sick and tired of, for some reason, him coming into all of these different discussions. And this isn't like, I'm not actually mad at Scott Boras. I'm not mad at Royce Lewis about this. I'm mad at fans who, well, Royce doesn't want to play. I'll bet you it's that agent, Scott Boras. Oh, what if the Twins upset Royce Lewis and make him move to second base? What if Scott Boras says he'll never let another client sign with them? And it goes back to like over the offseason. Now, after the stupid 3-year deal with opt-outs for Carlos Correa, every single time, every free agent, any fan has an interest in, well, he is a Scott Boras client. Maybe they'll do a 3-year deal with opt-outs. And I'm so sick of it. And there's this weird concept that Twins fans have fallen in love with, where if you just like appease Scott Boras, like sometime, someday, Scott Boras will give you some little like some sweetheart deal for some player. Okay, Scott Boras has already given the Twins a sweetheart deal for a player. His name was Carlos Correa. I need to remind you, the 3-year deal with opt-outs. I'm so sick and tired of every conversation about any Boras client just suddenly become about, how are we going to appease Scott Boras? The dude is going to send his guys to places they want to play for the most money. That's it. We don't need to worry about super agent Scott Boras in any of these conversations. Money talks. Scott Boras is going to get the most money for his players. Once in a while, you're going to run into like a scenario where it's like Carlos Correa, he's only got like 6 places he wants to go, and he'll get the most money from those 6 places. Stop bringing Scott Boras into every single conversation. I'm so tired of it.
That was good. That was an excellent gripe, Gregg. I'm really glad you brought that up. That was fun. All right, dear
listeners. Fun for me.
Well, it was fun for the rest of us. It was fun for our dear audience. Dear audience, if you have a gripe that you would like to air out, please hit us up on Twitter at TwinsOffDaily or at Gregg T. Masterson if you want to release some steam. But for right now, let's boogie on over to our last segment, which is the closer. And this segment is sponsored by the Boras Corp. No, I'm just kidding. But But we are going to play a excellent round of Stump the Shown. So, Cody, you have the floor, my friend.
All right, welcome back to Stump the Shown in honor of Stump the Schwab, R.I.P. Howie Schwab. So this is a game where there is a topic, and the two contestants, which will be Lou and Gregg, and me, the Shown, we each get a chance to give an answer once at a time for the topic, and it goes around until all answers have been given or all contestants have been eliminated for giving a wrong answer. So I will have access to the answers. I have a list here. But Lou and Gregg will basically compete with me to see who can finish last between the two. Once, say Gregg beats Lou or Lou beats Gregg, whoever beats the other has to answer correctly to actually win it. They can't just win off of the fact that the other person answered incorrectly or they beat them. So, all right. In honor of the Twins having a lot of rookies making their debut this year, I know we have Hellman, we have Kiersey Jr. recently. I want you two to name players who made their major league debuts as Minnesota Twins dating back to when Rocco Baldelli took over as manager in 2019.
Goodness.
What? Okay, so players who have debuted as Twins since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Players who have debuted as major league players with the Twins.
Okay.
Yeah, so people, okay. Got it?
Yep.
All right, Gregg, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will start off. And last season, Brent Hedrick made his debut for the Twins coming up from AAA. All right. Lou?
So this is from start of 2019.
Yeah.
All right, let's say Royce Lewis.
Royce Lewis, correct.
Matt Wallner,
correct. And back to me. Let's go with Edouard Julien.
Okay. Trevor Larnach.
Yep.
Bailey Ober,
correct. All right, Cole Sands.
Ryan Jeffers.
Jorge Alcala.
Let me see really quick. I believe so. Yeah, 2021. Okay, Charlie Barnes.
Oh, the legend. Yohan Duran.
Yep, Duran did 2022.
Brustar Gratterall.
Yes, Gratterall. That was in 19, so good pull. We'll keep it in that year with my name, Cody Stashek.
Nice. Okay, let's go. Deshaun Kiersey.
Yep, Kiersey this year. Yep. Gregg?
Michael Hellman.
Yep, good call. Lewis Thorpe.
Oh, good one. Devin Smeltzer.
Let's see here. Yep, the Smeltzer 19. Yep.
Okay.
Let's complete the trifecta and go with Randy Dobnak.
Yep, Dobnak. Started game 2 in Yankee Stadium. I don't know if you guys knew that. Let's see. Ian Miller.
Okay. Jose Miranda.
Yes, Jose Miranda in 2022.
Travis Blankenhorn.
Yeah, Blankenhorn in 2020. Yep, good call. We'll stay in that year, and we will go with Mr. Aaron Whitefield.
Okay. Sweet Lou Varland.
Yep, Lou Varland. Yep, got him. 2022.
David Festa.
Yes, David Festa this season. All right, Jermaine Palacios in 2022.
Okay. It's 19. Let's just go with Simeon Woods Richardson.
Yep, SWR 2022. Gregg?
Zebby Matthews.
Yep, Zebulon. All right, last season we have another Cody, but with a K, Cody Funderburk.
Cole Sands?
Cole Sands, yes. Mr. Darude Sandstorm, 2022.
That wasn't a repeat?
No, I don't think we used Sands before. No.
Okay. Ben Rortvet.
Oh, yeah. The lefty catcher Rortvet. All right. Nick Gordon.
Okay. Brooks Lee.
Yep. Lou. All right. Gregg. Caleb Hamilton. Yeah, another catcher. Yep. Giovanni Moran.
Oh, that's a good call. Come on, Lou. Come on, Lou. I'm Xing myself out. I'm blanking. I'm blanking horn.
All right, don't want to throw just a name out there. Nope, okay.
I know it's not true, but Williams Astudillo.
No. All right, Greg, can you win?
Oh, did he? Oh, geez.
Astudillo was an 18, by the way.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think the name that I have in mind is 18. I believe Sean Poppin debuted in 18.
So here's the crazy thing. Sean Poppin was in 19. So, Greg, you did win.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yep.
Okay, sure.
Greg won.
Who are we missing, Cody?
So big names, Luis Arias.
Okay.
In 2019. Kirilloff. Jeffers, Brent Rooker.
Okay.
Let's see who else we got here.
Lamont Wade,
Mark Contreras, of course.
Oh, the legend.
Yeah, I'd say maybe more obscure ones. Ryan Harper, Ryan Eads.
Ryan Harper was that was his debut in the majors. He was like 31. Wow.
He's a minor league pitcher until then. Yeah. Did we say Celestino? Yeah, you guys are really good. Ronnie Henriquez was a name too, but we got a lot of names.
Yeah, that one was on my mind, and I don't know, that one was that list. Like I would have like 3 names in mind, and then like by the time it got back to me, I will have forgotten all 3 of them, and then
and
assume that I'm sure we said Alex Kirilloff, right?
Yeah. And now I have like 5 that just sprung up on me. Josh Winder, Jordan Belizave. There's just a bunch that just popped up. But hey, that was a good one. Way to go, Cody. That was a fun segment of Stump the Shown.
Wow.
But let's take this on over to our post-game high fives, and let's answer our walk-off question. Which current Twin would you select to have an iconic playoff moment this year, with the caveat that you lose them for the rest of their career after the season's over? They are not on the Twins anymore. I'm going to start. I think it would be so cool, and I would love for Carlos Santana to return to this team in 2025. It would be so cool if he had an excellent, walk-off home run in the playoffs, and then he went on his merry way somewhere else or into retirement or whatever it may be. I love Carlos Santana on this team, and I hope he has a huge moment. How about you, Greg?
Gosh, I've got some jokes. I would love to see the sausage have a big moment, like some, beginning of the World Series DVD moment with the sausage, and then it goes away forever, and we never have to think about it again. It would be nice for Carlos Correa to have a big moment, and then we get out under that albatross contract. This team will never go anywhere until you trade your all-star shortstop.
Yeah.
I want to say Vasquez, but I want him back next year.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like, oh gosh. Santana's a great one. Oh man, if you know what? No, Manuel Margot. I want Manuel Margot. I want him to be 37 plate appearances in the regular season as a pinch hitter, no hits, and then I want him to pinch hit in like Game 3 of the ALDS, and he just like pokes a little squibbler like right up the middle past the diving shortstop and second baseman. He gets on base, they drive him in. Manuel Margot, pinch hitting hero. I want to see that
off of like Josh Hader or something, like some all-star closer. Oh, that would be so fun.
Everybody's melting down because they just pulled Matt Wallner out of the lineup for Manuel Margot, and Manuel Margot saves the day. Yes, he rides into the sunset. He takes his $2 million buyout, and best of luck, Manny Magoo.
This is where fan fiction becomes so much better than what actually ends up happening. We are going to be robbed of that moment, sadly. Cody, what do you think?
Yeah, so I would love to see Pablo Lopez shove in the ALDS before they send him off, before his contract gets too expensive, as they shave 15 more million off the payroll and don't sign anybody. No, I'm just kidding. I would I would love to see Max Kepler go out in glory.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, earns his flowers. Maybe has like a walk off single and like the DS to send them to the CS. Something big like that, something cool, and then see him go somewhere else in the off season, and finally, I don't want to say finally, but like leave Minnesota after like what
Sure.
15 years. So yeah, it'd be cool to see him get his flowers on his way out.
That would be
the
cool.
odds? What are the odds we just don't see Max Kepler again?
I think likely.
Yeah, sadly.
In a Twins uniform, or do you just
mean of course,
yeah.
No, I don't mean like he's going to be like swallowed up by the earth and never seen again. But like, there's a legit shot that like Max Kepler's Twins career is just over. And I don't know. I've never been like the highest guy on Max Kepler, but like for a dude who's been in the organization for 15 years to just kind of go out like that's sad, man.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, how about this? Manny Magoo comes in, pinch hit single, gets on first. Max Kepler walk-off home run after that. There we go.
Off a lefty?
Off a lefty. Unbelievable.
Wow.
That's what dreams are made of, baby.
And then also, Kyle Farmer is a pinch runner at first base, so then he can get his final moment too.
They all get their swan song together.
Yep.
I would love for I would love for like a total, how every time that a Twins pitcher gets pulled early, a certain segment of the fan base will start yammering about how what if Tom Kelly pulled Blackjack Morris before the 10th inning. I would absolutely love if like this was a new generation of Twins fans who just swore off of platooning because Max Kepler hit a walk-off like home run off a lefty, and every single time that like from then on, like all of these like 20-year-old Twins fans for the next 50 years, every time somebody gets platooned for or like a pinch hitter comes in, they say, well, what if Rocco Baldelli had pulled Max Kepler? The Twins wouldn't have won the World Series. I want to see that so bad.
It's going to be like 2029 and like Toby Gardenhire is going to be managing the Twins, and those same people who are chastising Rocco are going to be like, back in 2024, Rocco would have never done that. It's going to be the same people. Just watch.
Rocco would have never let that happen.
It's 2035. Trevor Plouffe is managing the Twins through Zoom, and he benches Walker Jenkins against a lefty in the 8th. What can we do?
There we go. Okay, that was fun. I'm really glad that we dove into that. That's excellent. But hey, let's take a quick look ahead at the schedule that's coming up for the Twins. The Twins host a 3-game set against the Cincinnati Reds starting on Friday. Then they head to Cleveland for probably the most important series of the season that's been circled on their calendar for months. They head to Cleveland for a 4-game set, and then to Boston, which is also going to be consequential for 3 games before their next off day, which is Monday, September 23rd. And that will be our second to last episode of the season. But until then, it's been a lot of fun.
On-air production meeting.
Oh, on-air production meeting. Producer Lenny.
I'm pretty sure that the Twins only have one more off day before the end of the season.
That'll be their last off day for sure, but there's going to be an off day after their last game, whether that's before the postseason or kicking off the off season. So,
yeah.
Fine.
Ever since they did away with game 163, we have to assume that there won't be any games after the last game of the season. And you know what? That might be my gripe next time.
Yes, save it, because we used to be a country with game 163s. But until then, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Please like and share, and please tell your friends about us. We would love to have more people joining this conversation. But until next episode, stay sweet, everybody.